Thank you so much, Toastmaster Stephanie. And I want to acknowledge that there was an overwhelming number of us this morning that said we are most euphoric when we're speaking one on one with others. But we're here because we want to get better with public speaking. And so I want to tell you something that nobody actually talks about where public speaking comes into consideration. And it has nothing to do with your voice. It has nothing to do with vocabulary. It has nothing to do with whether you are a natural extrovert. And I'll tell you a secret, I'm actually an introvert. Or whether it has an idea of speaking in front of people makes you feel like you want to faint and end up in the emergency room. But it does have everything to do with being more brave than you were the day before. And that is really what Dynamically Speaking Toastmasters has done for me. I knew that my desire to learn to be euphoric standing in front of individuals was something that was important to me. And so I found a space that was safe and allowed me to be brave. My name is Karis Wright, as Stephanie mentioned, and today I'm going to be your moderator. I am a business and executive coach, so sitting one on one is absolutely where I love to be. I spend my days with leaders and help them be the most that they can be. But today, you're going to hear from four people who from founded this club to actually just got started and are where our guests are today. So I'm super excited that we've got a couple of guests that are in the space of wanting to become a Toastmaster or learning a little bit more. They're going to answer three questions: how we started this club, why their stay, and what does brave look like to help them. So before we let me get out of the way, because I'm listening to me chatter on is not what you want to do. But first, I want to bring up Ken.
Thank you so much, Karis.
Yes, Ken, before I introduce the full panel, I really wanted to give a little bit of context about where Dynamically Speaking came from, a little bit about the origin story, and I can't think of anyone better than you to help us out. So, briefly tell us what was the vision for Dynamically Speaking.
I think I need to set the context. In the mid 1990s, Con Schultz and Peter Van Heerden were members of a local Toastmasters club where religion and politics were forbidden topics. And for committed Christians like Con and Peter, how do you respond to table topics questions about life and not mention your faith? It was so integral to everyday life. They decided to try to start a new Toastmasters club where there were no such restrictions. In 1997, they started an informal Toastmaster Club meeting in person every Thursday morning, 7 to 8 a.m. for breakfast at the Parkside Inn on 10th Ave and Mayor McGrath Drive in Lethbridge. Con and Peter met with me and coaxed me to join them. Any subject, topic, or visitor was welcome. Over and above the charge for breakfast, there was a 5-cent charge for every filler word infraction. You know, I spent almost a buck every meeting for the first few weeks, but I quickly learned. Charter date was February 1st, 98. We had all the area and district Toastmaster reps attending. Members initially joined to improve their public speaking skills for use at home, at work, in church, social settings. But that purpose expanded to improving their evaluating, leadership, and even mentoring skills. Several members reached distinguished Toastmaster level. A few of our club members even went on to gain accredited speaker status. Somewhere around 2018, Barb Giesbrecht, one of our members, moved to Pincher Creek, but wanted to keep involved with our club meetings. So we arranged for her to attend and participate remotely via telephone. And that experience paved the way for our club going online when COVID hit in 2020. Since then, our club only meets online, allowing international members to attend and hopefully join. At times, we've had attendees from across Canada and USA and from Australia, Kenya, Korea, Poland, Pakistan. Dynamically Speaking achieved President Distinguished Club status in at least 20 of the last 28 years. And our club prides itself on living up to our name of Dynamically Speaking and encouraging others to join us. Back to you, Karis.
Thank you so much, Ken. And I'm going to have you stay on screen here to help us with the rest of the panel discussion. Now what I want to just highlight here is the fact that bravery was at our foundation, talking about taboo topics at the time in order to open up people to be their authentic self. And that's what Dynamically Speaking is truly all about. Now I want to bring the rest of our panel up. Freddie, Lotachi, or Loda, and Melanie. Freddie, let's hear from you next. What brought you to Dynamically Speaking?
I'd been considering Toastmasters for a number of years, but I really hadn't got off the couch to chase it down. And one day I was walking through my office and there was a poster. It said, hey, Toastmaster meeting at noon. And so I thought, well, opportunity is knocking. So I went to the meeting and it was a group of people that was trying to get a club going. And about the third meeting, a gentleman by the name of Ken Leverth came, and he absolutely fascinated me. He was so professional and so articulate, and he used big words that I'd never heard. But what really got me was that in table topics, Ken started with the phrase, it all started with a sick chicken. That was just such a hook. I was already speaking at a professional level. And so I joined Toastmasters as a professional speaker because I wanted more tools in my toolbox. I wanted the excellence in evaluation and feedback that the group could give me rather than a paying audience. And I also wanted that amazing business transferable skill of being able to give really great evaluations. And I've been here for 24 years.
Oh my goodness. Leave it to Ken to have a great hook, a skill that's still required today and maybe even more so with social media. Freddie, thank you so much to share that. Melanie, you have been part of the club for over 2 years and now part of the leadership team. Why don't you share us what brought you to Dynamically Speaking?
Thank you, Karis. Well, first of all, I had a brief stint with Toastmasters 25 years ago. I was just out of college working a corporate job and I wanted to try teaching, but there was a problem that I had a severe fear of public speaking. It was something totally irrational. It's just, I would rather do something, the most unpleasant thing, than get up in front of people. It just gave me so much anxiety. So I heard of Toastmasters and I decided to give it a try, and I attended for about a year and I did get over my fear. I didn't get very far in terms of learning how to actually speak well. I would just bring my notes, read my speech, and then sit back down. But I did get over my fear and I was able to actually get into teaching. And I stopped going to Toastmasters. I was super busy and I had my 3 kids. And then about 23 years later, I just remember about Toastmasters again. I have a YouTube channel and I don't have a fear of speaking in public, but I just don't have the skill to put my words together eloquently and make people pay attention. So I thought, well, maybe it would be a good idea to improve my presentation skills because it would actually grow my YouTube channel if I had a better stage presence. So I quickly Googled Toastmasters online club, and somehow on Reddit, this Dynamically Speaking club came up. Someone was saying how this is such a wonderful club, and I don't know who this is because on Reddit they have nicknames, so I don't know who was the member who posted it. And I went to the website, clicked on the Zoom link, and I visited Dynamically Speaking. And I was so pleasantly surprised that people in the chat was actually saying, "Welcome, Melanie. Good morning, Melanie." people actually noticed that I was there because my intentions were, I'll just be a fly on the wall, see what it's about. I had no idea what it's going to be like because my experience 25 years ago was something completely different. It was in person, but I loved it here. It was one of those things that I just wanted to check it out. I didn't really think very deeply, but when I was here, I just felt like that was the place for me. And after that, I visited as a guest about 4 times, I would say, because I just wanted to make sure it's a consistent experience and that's something I actually need in my life versus just stopping by once and seeing where it goes. And it just felt right. And it's very rare because a lot of times you just, when you're trying to join a social group, you feel like you have to put in all this work and get to know all those people and be liked and make this small talk. It's like a job. But this one didn't feel like it. It just was natural. Things just fell into place and it fits my schedule, which I think is the most important because if you want to participate into something, you need to make sure you actually do have the time to show up. So it fits my schedule great. I love starting my Thursday mornings here. It really sets a tone for the rest of the day. And I do show up most of the time. I'd say 90% of the weeks I'm able to make it. And I think I've had a great improvement in my confidence level and my speaking skills. And I just can't wait to see what's next. I love it here.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and for highlighting what brought you here, as well as some of the skills that you're learning and the fact that public speaking, you can pick up at different areas of your life and different times of your life. Loda, you are one of our newest members. I really would love to hear what brought you here.
Okay, so yes, well, for me, I had never heard about Toastmasters ever. In all my years on this planet, I had never heard of anything called Toastmasters. And I think I might have shared that I moved to Canada and a couple of my friends also moved to Canada. And sometimes we would share and swap experiences. And this friend of mine who is very, I really look up to her as a friend. She seems to have all her ducks in a row. One day, both of us were talking, and she was like, "Oh, have you heard of Toastmasters?" And I'm like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a public speaking group you can join, and it helps you to articulate your points clearly at work." And at this point, I need to give the background that I just got a job, but I was finding it hard to put my points across. Call it different things. Maybe it was the fact that I had that anxiety that I just moved to a new country with different people that I wasn't used to. Maybe it was imposter syndrome. I don't know what it was, but I felt like in meetings, I would say my points and nobody would seem to understand what I'm saying. And then someone else would say the exact same thing and everyone would be like, "Yay, yes." And I'm like, "Didn't you hear me say that?" And so I'm like, okay, I just had it in mind that I will join Toastmasters. I didn't know how to join, I didn't know what to do. Fast forward to years later, I was out of a job and I was wondering, okay, what can I do to upskill, to improve myself? I know that I have a lot of great ideas. I know that I know how to lead a team, but somehow, maybe moving to Canada, I just felt like I was overlooked. I wasn't being seen. So in the time when I was still looking for a job when I joined Toastmasters, I was attending a lot of interviews and I was having the same problem. Now, backstory, growing up, I've always had a stuttering problem. I mean, maybe you can hear it, but I always struggle to get some words out. I sometimes have to squeeze my hands to get the words out. And in interviews, this was showing up. And I'm like, do they know that this is just something that I do and it's not like I'm not capable of doing the job? So I decided one morning that, okay, I'm going to Google Toastmasters, this thing that my friend told me about. And I looked online, I looked in Lethbridge here, and I saw that there were a number of places that were doing Toastmasters. but it was a physical meeting. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like, I have a son. When I get a job, we'll probably start work at 8 a.m. and end at 5. And I need to come home and feed my son and do all the other things. Like, what time do I have to go to somewhere and be physical? So I found Dynamically Speaking. I'm like, oh, this one is in Lethbridge, but it says it's online. I've never heard of anything online. And I'm like, okay, let me join. I also saw that the time that it started was 6:58 a.m. That was really early for me. Like, it's really early for me, but I'm like, you have to put in some work. And I remember one morning I just joined the meeting. I didn't know what to expect, but I joined the meeting. I think I was even on my bed and I saw that everyone had their videos on. I'm like, oh God, I have to turn on my video. So I turned on the video and and yeah, I think I even had the scarf on. And it was interesting that as soon as I joined, it seemed like everyone welcomed me. I mean, it wasn't like I was a fly on the wall. I was involved in that meeting. They asked me questions during table topics, and I got to answer. And I noticed that apart from the people that presented the speech, I think Sandra was the person who gave her speech that day. And I was like, oh my God, this is more like it's like a life lesson, even more than a speech. And I'm like, all these people, they speak so well. I want to be like that. And so I kept joining, and I made a note to pay the membership, and I joined. And I've really noticed that in my professional life, it has really helped. It helped me to speak better, to speak more confidently when I got to my interviews. Even at work, whenever I'm leading a meeting, I find that yes, the anxiety is still there, but I'm more courageous to take it on because sometimes I realize that everything that I'm thinking is in my head. Most of it is not out there. And if someone doesn't hear what I'm saying, I just need to say it in a different way. So I think Toastmasters has given me the confidence to move forward in that area of my life in public speaking. I also do a lot of things in church, and most times I shy away because I feel like everyone's going to laugh at me because I stutter or they'll be embarrassed for me. But I just learned that just like Toastmasters, people come from different walks of life at different levels of their public speaking. I've learned that we're all learning, and Toastmasters has given me that safe space to express myself, not just as a speaker, but even as a facilitator, to know what to listen for, to understand the structure of giving a speech, the importance of a hook. These are all different skills that I'm not sure where else you would learn that. So yeah, I hope my answer wasn't too long, but I would stop here. That was
Thank you.
what really drew me to Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Latachi. And one thing that I'm really recognizing with this group is that our motivators have common threads that we wanted to improve ourselves, whether that was professionally or personally. And there was a fear of being able to become more euphoric when speaking and building that confidence. Now, I would love to hear just briefly about why, once you joined, why you continue to stay. Ken, you've been here for 20 years. Why do you keep coming back?
I think it's the opportunity to help and assist others achieve their public speaking and evaluating and leadership goals. At this side of the hill, the opportunity to improve my speaking skills, sure, but the opportunity to use them is shrinking. And I think the avenue through dynamically speaking of encouragement, mentoring, leading just keeps me going.
Ken, thank you, because what I've experienced is the ability to have really strong dynamic mentors means a lot to newer individuals coming in, and having that feedback lets us shine, and it also gives us something to aspire to. Freddie, how about yourself? What keeps you coming back?
Very similar to Ken. this club has supported me so much. I mean, I am an accredited speaker, which is the highest earned professional speaking credential in the world. Well, Toastmaster world for sure. And I wouldn't have got there without this club. So having the opportunity to give back, we've got several incredible members that are emerging professional speakers. I love meeting with them one-on-one or in small mentoring groups, because being able to learn from them, but also to share with them some of the knowledge and experience and tips and techniques that I've developed over 30 years, that's what keeps me here. It's because I've got so much out. I love being able to give back.
Amazing. Thank you, Freddie. Melanie, quickly, what keeps you coming back week after week?
I think when it comes to public speaking, you can always get better and better and better. It doesn't end. So even if you get to the point where you're proud of yourself, like, wow, I made it, I can give those great speeches, there's always room for improvement. So I don't think it's something where you reach a certain goal and you stop. It's just something that's ongoing. Doesn't matter how many years you've been coming here. So you have to practice, otherwise use it or lose it. And also, I'm like a robot who likes routines. I know my Thursday mornings, that's where I go. And I think the familiarity and repetition and having an opportunity to practice the skills, it's something that keeps me coming back here every week. And I envision myself coming here for as long as I can think of.
I absolutely love that. The repetition, the purpose and meaning for getting up, and the routine. Lotachi, tell us quickly about what keeps you coming back. Oh, you're on mute, my friend.
Sorry, everyone. Okay, so I think for me at first, like I've shared, I wanted to improve my public speaking. But something that drew me one day, I think I joined a little early and I saw Ken praying. I heard him pray and I was like, oh, they share, like, you can talk about your faith as well. And so that also made me want to keep coming. It made it feel like, okay, this is not just something you do. This is a really safe place. So that's something else. Another thing is, apart from the prepared speeches, I realized that just like what you're doing now, Karas, facilitating when someone has spoken, not just moving over to the next person, you have to ask follow-up questions or affirm what they've said. It in itself is a skill. I realized that I lack in a lot of these interpersonal skills of how to host like an interview or facilitate, and I'm like, there's so much that you could learn apart from prepared speeches. So I want to flex those muscles in terms of public speaking, so that's why I'm still here. Yeah.
I think Shrek said it best. It's like onion. There's lots of layers to the
Oh,
learning
yes.
that we have. Absolutely. And my final question really has to do with bravery. So one simple thing that each one of us have taken away that have made us just a little bit braver, maybe a little more euphoric in how we approach things. I'm going to go in reverse order just to give us all time. So this is a chance for us to practice brevity. Lotachi, what's one thing that has made you just a little bit braver as a result of coming?
Braver, I would say just standing up without like doing. I think for me, I'm always tense when I have to speak. So many things going on in my head. But I'm braver because I know that people are here to support and to help me. So just having that knowledge at the back of my mind just gives me the strength to even to do it afraid. I'm scared, but I want to still do it. I still want to speak, give what I can, and improve. Yeah.
There's a great book called Do It Scared. I love that,
Oh, yeah.
Lotachi. Melanie, what's one thing that you've done that's made you just a little bit braver?
Same as Latachi, just showing up before I feel ready. Sometimes I feel like I have no clue what I'm doing, but I show up anyway because I know this is the place that will support me. Even if I get up there and give a horrible presentation or do something wrong, no one's going to say, hey, like, what are you doing? They actually will support me and do this applause. And I feel like I get braver and braver every time I show up.
Yes, the support helps us be brave. Freddie, I consider you a bit of a superwoman. So what makes you even that much more brave?
You know, it's the support of the club. When I was reaching for the accredited speaker credential, the very first time I applied, I failed in front of 3,000 people on the main stage at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. I came back to my club and I was loved and hugged and encouraged to try again.
Mm, that support means everything. And we do have a community here. Ken, bring us home, my friend.
I think with this club behind me, in a positive way, the best speech I've ever given is the next one.
Well said. Well said. We found or founded, we stayed and we braved through things that have been really tough. For me, this community has revolutionized my ability. My very first speech was about the fact that I came from a family full of public speakers, performers, and I was always the person behind the scenes and backstage. The encouragement that this group has provided to me allowed me to step in front of stage, so much so that I now have a podcast. I never would have thought of that 4 years ago, that that's where I would be today. So I am profoundly grateful for this team and for our guests. Really want to extend an open invitation for you to join us next Thursday at 6:58 Mountain Time. And I'm going to turn it back to our Toastmaster. Stephanie, back to you, my friend.